and 3 you should start including on your plate for better memory, joints, and heart health. You may think you're making healthy choices from the ocean, but new research from leading institutions like Mayo Clinic and Harvard reveals a hidden danger. Certain seafoods, often labeled as brain food or heart healthy, could actually speed up memory loss, worsen joint inflammation, and raise blood pressure in older adults. Even more surprising, these seafoods are still sold in stores today, and many seniors eat them every week without realizing the damage. Meanwhile, lesser-known ocean foods are quietly showing powerful benefits, rebuilding cartilage, improving focus, and reducing inflammation by up to 45%. One rare seafood even reversed key aging markers in lab studies. So why haven't we heard about this before? Because these studies are buried deep in medical journals, and the seafood industry has no interest in making them public. In today's video, we're cutting through the confusion. You'll discover 4 seafoods that may silently sabotage your health, and 4 that could help you stay mobile, independent, and sharp well into your 70s and 80s. Before we begin, a quick question. Have you ever felt brain fog or joint pain after a seafood meal? Let us know in the comments. We read and reply to every story. And if you're passionate about health tips backed by real science, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more senior-friendly advice. Now let's begin with the first seafood you should avoid after 60. Harmful food. Number 1. Raw. Oysters from warm waters. Let's start with a seafood that's often considered a fancy delicacy: raw oysters, especially those harvested from warmer coastal waters. But for older adults, indulging in these might be more than just risky. It could be life-threatening. Why? Because raw oysters, particularly from the Gulf of Mexico and other warm regions, often carry a dangerous bacterium called Vibrio vulnificus. This isn't just a mild stomach bug. It's an aggressive, fast-moving infection that preys on weakened immune systems. And unfortunately, as we age, our immune response naturally declines. According to the CDC, people over 60 are up to 80 times more likely to suffer severe complications from Vibrio infections than younger adults. And in those with diabetes, liver disease, or other chronic conditions, the risk multiplies even further. In extreme cases, this infection can lead to a type of blood poisoning called septicemia, which can cause organ failure, amputations, and even death, all within days. One report documented that over 95% of fatal Vibrio cases occurred in people over 60. The symptoms might seem harmless at first, just a little nausea or fatigue, but within 24 hours it can escalate to fever, chills, skin lesions, and dangerously low blood pressure. So how can you stay safe without giving up seafood entirely? The solution is simple: never eat raw oysters if you're over 60. If you love the flavor, opt for fully cooked oysters instead, grilled, steamed, or baked. Heat kills the bacteria completely, making them safe to enjoy. And if you're looking for a safer substitute, consider steamed mussels. They're rich in zinc and vitamin B12 just like oysters, but are far less likely to carry dangerous pathogens when properly cooked. For seniors, raw oysters from warm waters pose a serious risk of deadly bacterial infection. Cooking them thoroughly is not optional, it's essential. Harmful food. Number 2. King mackerel. Next up is a fish that looks healthy on the surface but hides a toxic secret beneath its shiny skin: king mackerel. You'll often see king mackerel sold in fish markets and featured in seafood steaks. It's a large, firm-fleshed fish that seems like a nutritious pick, until you look a little deeper. What makes this fish so dangerous for older adults? One word: mercury. King mackerel is what scientists call a top predator fish. That means it eats a long chain of smaller fish, and with each bite it absorbs more mercury. Over time, this heavy metal builds up in its tissues, and when you eat that fish, you're absorbing those toxins directly. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, king mackerel consistently ranks among the highest mercury fish available on the market. And for people over 60, this matters more than ever. Why? Because mercury isn't just about food safety, it directly affects your brain and nervous system. Harvard researchers found that older adults who consumed high-mercury fish regularly experienced 30% faster cognitive decline than those who avoided them. That means more forgetfulness, more confusion, and less independence. Early symptoms are subtle tremors, memory fog, and difficulty concentrating. But long-term exposure can lead to permanent nerve damage and even increase the risk of Alzheimer's disease. Thankfully, you have better choices. Swap king mackerel with Atlantic mackerel, a smaller cousin with 75% less mercury, but just as much heart-healthy omega-3. Or even better, go for wild salmon sardines or herring, which offer powerful brain benefits without the toxic load. And here's something worth noting. If you've eaten king mackerel frequently in the past, it's a smart idea to talk to your doctor about a heavy metal blood test. Early intervention can make a big difference. King mackerel may be rich in omega-3s, but the mercury risk far outweighs the benefits for seniors. Choose lower mercury fish instead for brain and nerve health. Harmful food. Number 3. Imported shrimp from Southeast Asia. Now let's talk about a seafood that's on many American dinner tables, especially because it's cheap, versatile, and easy to cook. We're talking about imported shrimp, especially those from Southeast Asia. But here's the catch, literally. Over 90% of shrimp sold in U.S. supermarkets comes from large-scale farms in countries like Thailand, Vietnam, and China. And these farms often operate in conditions that would shock most people. Why should this matter to you? Because these shrimp are frequently raised in overcrowded ponds polluted with waste chemicals and antibiotics, many of which are banned in the U.S. Shrimp farmers use them to prevent disease and speed up growth in filthy environments. But when you eat that shrimp, those residues can accumulate in your body. A Consumer Reports investigation found that 6 out of 10 samples of imported shrimp contain traces of illegal or dangerous substances, including antibiotics, linked to anemia, kidney damage, and even cancer. And for older adults whose detox systems are already slowing down, these chemicals can stick around longer and do more harm. Even worse, long-term exposure can lower your immune response, increase fatigue, and make you more vulnerable to antibiotic-resistant infections. One study from Texas found traces of over 160 different drug compounds in imported shrimp samples, including several banned in food production. Now, this doesn't mean you have to give up shrimp forever. Just make a smarter switch. Choose wild-caught American shrimp from the Gulf of Mexico or Atlantic coast. Yes, they cost more, but they're cleaner, safer, and honestly taste better too. If budget is a concern, buy frozen wild shrimp in smaller amounts. You get more nutrition, less risk. And remember, food safety is especially critical after 60. What was once just a stomach bug in your 30s could now turn into a serious health threat. Imported farmed shrimp may be cheap, but the chemical contamination can put seniors at serious risk. Choose wild-caught American shrimp to stay safe and strong. Beneficial food. Number 1. Pacific sardines. When it comes to affordable, powerful superfoods from the ocean, Pacific sardines might just be the best-kept secret for folks over 60. They're small, humble, and often overlooked, but don't let their size fool you. Sardines are nutritional dynamos packed with the exact nutrients that aging bodies crave. In fact, these little fish offer more absorbable calcium than milk, more vitamin D than many fortified cereals, and a hefty dose of heart-loving omega-3s all in one affordable package. What makes sardines especially beneficial is how bioavailable their nutrients are. The soft edible bones provide calcium that your body can actually use because it comes alongside phosphorus and vitamin D, which help you absorb and retain it. That's a combination few supplements can match. And here's a real eye-opener. A Stanford study on older women found that those who ate sardines twice a week increased their bone density by 4% in just 1 year, while the group taking calcium pills showed no improvement. Even better, sardines are very low on the food chain, which means they feed mostly on plankton, not other fish. That makes them naturally low in mercury and contaminants, so you can enjoy them every day without worry. Need a heart health bonus? A Portuguese study tracked seniors for 5 years and found that regular sardine eaters had 38% fewer cardiovascular events and better memory performance than those who didn't include them in their diet. So how can you enjoy them? Look for wild-caught Pacific sardines packed in olive oil or water, not soybean oil, which can be inflammatory. Mash them with avocado for a creamy spread toss into a salad, or enjoy them with whole grain crackers. If the texture is new to you, start with boneless and skinless varieties. And here's some inspiration. Frank, a 73-year-old retired postal worker, started eating sardines daily on his doctor's recommendation. After 6 months, his bone scan improved for the first time in years, and his joint pain nearly vanished. Now 76, he still calls them his secret weapon. Pacific sardines offer a rare trifecta of calcium, vitamin D, and omega-3s perfectly packaged for strong bones, healthy hearts, and aging brains. Beneficial food, number 2. Wild-caught Alaskan salmon. If there's one fish that deserves a regular place on your plate after 60, it's this glowing orange marvel wild-caught Alaskan salmon. Not all salmon is created equal. The farmed kind, which now dominates many grocery shelves, often carries traces of pesticides, artificial dyes, and inflammatory omega-6 fats. But wild Alaskan salmon, it's a whole different story. Think of it as nature's prescription for aging well. This fish is rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which are essential for reducing inflammation, the root cause of many age-related conditions, like arthritis, memory decline, and heart disease. But there's more. Wild salmon also contains a vibrant red compound called astaxanthin, one of the most powerful antioxidants known to science. Unlike typical antioxidants, astaxanthin can cross the blood-brain barrier, protecting your brain cells from oxidative stress. Japanese studies on seniors show that eating wild salmon just twice a week resulted in 40% less cognitive decline over 8 years. That's not a small difference. It's the kind of change that keeps your mind sharp and your independence intact. Beyond brain health, salmon's vitamin D content helps strengthen bones and muscles, 2 areas that naturally weaken as we age. A Norwegian study found that older adults who ate wild salmon regularly had a 23% lower risk of falls, thanks to better muscle function and balance. The selenium in salmon also supports the thyroid gland, which often becomes sluggish with age, impacting energy, weight, and mood. All of these benefits come in a delicious, protein-rich package. For best results, choose Copper River sockeye or Alaskan king salmon. They offer the richest flavor and highest omega-3 content. Grill it with a little lemon and herbs, make patties with canned varieties, or bake fillets with olive oil and garlic. Aim for 2 servings a week, about 5 to 6 ounces each. And here's a story to inspire you. Eleanor, a 70-year-old grandmother diagnosed with early memory issues, began eating wild Alaskan salmon 4 times a week. A year later, not only had her scans improved, but she was back to leading cooking classes, sharing her brain food recipes with others. Wild-caught Alaskan salmon delivers brain-protecting antioxidants, bone-building vitamin D, and inflammation-fighting omega-3s, all essential for graceful aging. Beneficial food, number 3, green-lipped mussels from New Zealand. If joint pain or stiffness is making daily tasks feel harder than they used to, this next seafood could be a game-changer. Green-lipped mussels from New Zealand. Unlike regular mussels, these emerald-shelled wonders contain unique omega-3 fatty acids, specifically ETA, eicosapentaenoic acid. which are rarely found elsewhere in nature. And these compounds have shown remarkable results in easing inflammation, rebuilding cartilage, and improving joint mobility, especially in older adults. Australian researchers studied a group of seniors with arthritis and found that those taking green-lipped mussel extract experienced up to 89% pain relief and 91% improved joint function in just 3 months. That's almost unheard of with over-the-counter medications and without the usual side effects. But these mussels don't stop at joint health. They also contain glycosaminoglycans, the same molecules found in our joint fluid. That means they help lubricate and cushion your joints naturally, rather than just masking symptoms like many pain pills. In addition, they're rich in iron, manganese, copper, and B vitamins, all of which support tissue repair, red blood cell production, and energy levels vital as we age. A New Zealand study tracked seniors who ate green-lipped mussels twice a week and found that 45% showed signs of cartilage regeneration on MRI scans, a finding once thought impossible without surgery. To enjoy them safely, choose frozen or canned green-lipped mussels from reputable New Zealand brands. You can steam them with garlic and herbs, toss them into pasta, or stir them into a soup or chowder. Can't find them fresh, high-quality green-lipped mussel supplements are also available. Just check for third-party testing. Michael, a 67-year-old former construction worker, was once scheduled for knee replacement surgery. Instead, he started eating green-lipped mussels daily. Within weeks, the swelling decreased. After 6 months, his X-rays showed widened joint space, a sign of tissue recovery. Today, he walks his dog pain-free and runs a small business importing these mussels to help other seniors. Green-lipped mussels offer rare inflammation-fighting compounds and cartilage repair nutrients that can restore mobility and relieve joint pain naturally. Let's take a moment to recap everything we've uncovered today. On one side of the ocean, we have 4 seafoods that might seem harmless or even healthy, but can quietly undermine your health after 60. Raw oysters from warm waters can carry deadly bacteria. King mackerel delivers dangerous levels of mercury. Imported shrimp from Southeast Asia may contain banned chemicals that weaken your immune system. And farm-raised tilapia triggers systemic inflammation, possibly worsening arthritis, heart problems, and memory issues. These aren't just cautionary tales. They're real risks for older adults with more fragile immune systems and slower detox pathways. But the good news: there's a brighter side to the sea. 3 nutrient-rich, safe, and affordable seafoods can actually help us age more gracefully if we add them to our diets with intention. Pacific sardines loaded with calcium, vitamin D, and clean omega-3s help protect our bones and brains. Wild-caught Alaskan salmon acts like internal medicine, reducing inflammation, supporting muscle function, and guarding our memory. And green-lipped mussels from New Zealand are a true natural remedy for joint pain with compounds that support cartilage repair in ways most supplements can't. Here's the bottom line: your body may not bounce back the way it used to, but it also responds more clearly to the right choices. As someone who's worked closely with nutrition science and seniors for years, I often think about my own parents. If I could get them to make just one change, it would be this: swap out one harmful seafood and add one healing one to your weekly routine. Start with sardines or wild salmon, easy, flavorful, and incredibly nourishing. Skip the imported shrimp and say goodbye to mystery chemicals. These little shifts can lead to steadier balance, better sleep, a sharper mind, and fewer pills down the road. And remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about progress. I'd love to hear from you. Over 90% of seniors unknowingly store common foods in the fridge that lose up to 70% of their nutrients essential for your heart, brain, and immune system after 60. We've been told for decades that refrigeration keeps food fresh. But for certain everyday ingredients, especially ones you use weekly, cold storage may actually strip away flavor, texture, and critical health benefits. In this video, we'll walk through 8 common foods seniors should never refrigerate, backed by food science, real-life examples, and smarter ways to store them. And wait until you hear about number 2. It's in nearly every fridge yet causes surprising damage. Before we dive in, tell us in the comments, which foods do you always refrigerate? Any odd changes in taste or texture lately? We're replying to everyone with tips tailored to your kitchen. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to protect your health, one smart habit at a time. Number 8. Potatoes. You probably grew up thinking the fridge was the safest place for potatoes. After all, it's cool, dry, and convenient. But here's the shocking truth. If you refrigerate your potatoes, you're not preserving them. You're accelerating a toxic transformation that can quietly impact your health, especially as you age. Cold temperatures cause the natural starches in potatoes to convert into simple sugars. This process, called cold-induced sweetening, might not sound harmful at first. But once those sugary potatoes are roasted or fried, think mashed potatoes, oven-baked fries, or even stews, they produce a chemical called acrylamide, a compound linked to potential cancer risks. The U.S. National Toxicology Program and European Food Safety Authority both flag acrylamide as a probable human carcinogen. Why? Because at high temperatures, the sugars and amino acids in refrigerated potatoes interact to form this chemical through what's known as the Maillard reaction, the same reaction that gives fried foods their crispy brown edges. One study from the University of Idaho showed that potatoes stored at refrigerator temperatures for just 2 weeks had over triple the sugar content compared to properly stored ones. That means even your healthiest home-cooked dishes could be serving up harmful compounds without you knowing it. For older adults, this isn't just a minor detail. Seniors are already managing oxidative stress, blood sugar sensitivity, and inflammation. Compounds like acrylamide can worsen inflammation markers, affect nervous system function, and increase long-term cancer risk if exposure is regular. And beyond the chemical risks, there's the issue of digestibility. Cold-stored potatoes often turn gritty, overly sweet, and difficult to digest, hardly ideal for aging digestive systems that benefit from smooth, fiber-rich whole foods. So what should you do instead? Store your potatoes in a cool, dark place, ideally between 45 degrees and 55 degrees. That could be a kitchen cupboard, a basement shelf, or even a well-ventilated closet. Keep them in a paper bag or mesh basket to allow air to circulate and avoid plastic bags, which trap moisture and lead to rot. Here's another senior-friendly tip: never store your potatoes near onions. Both release natural gases that speed up each other's spoilage. Keep them at least 3 feet apart. Yes, really, with proper storage, your potatoes can stay fresh for up to 8 to 12 weeks. Compare that to the fridge, where they degrade within 10-14 days. The difference is not just about texture, it's about keeping your meals safer and more nutritious. Have you been refrigerating your potatoes out of habit? Or do you already have a cool and dark spot in your kitchen? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear how you've been storing your spuds. Number 7. Bread. Why cold bread ages faster than you do? If you're like most people over 60, you probably refrigerate your bread to keep it from molding. It feels like a safe, sensible habit. But here's the surprising twist: cold air doesn't preserve bread. In fact, it makes it go stale up to 6 times faster, drying it out and stealing the very flavor and softness you love. Ever pulled out a slice of bread from the fridge only to find it dry, crumbly, and lifeless? That's not your imagination. That's science at work. Refrigeration triggers a process called starch retrogradation, where the starch molecules in bread start to harden, pushing out moisture and creating that dreaded stale texture. According to the Institute of Food Technologists, bread kept in the fridge loses its softness rapidly, often in less than 72 hours. Compared to room temperature storage, where bread can stay fresh for up to a week, this is a major downgrade for something so central to your daily meals. When bread is baked, its starches absorb water and swell, creating the soft, fluffy texture we love. But once cooled, especially in the fridge, those starches recrystallize. This forces moisture out, leaving behind a drier, denser structure. Even worse, the flavor suffers. Volatile organic compounds, which give bread its aroma and nuanced taste, break down faster in cold conditions. That's why refrigerated bread often tastes like cardboard, no matter how fresh it was the day before. For seniors, this matters more than you might think. Dry bread is harder to chew and digest, especially if you're managing dental concerns or sensitive gums. It can also increase the risk of choking or digestive discomfort, especially when consumed quickly, without enough fluid. And nutritionally, bread that has hardened and lost moisture isn't just less pleasant, it's less hydrating and harder for your gut to break down. Seniors benefit most from soft, digestible whole grains that offer fiber and fuel without being tough on the stomach. So how should you store bread for freshness and health? Keep it in a bread box or paper bag at room temperature, away from heat and humidity. These containers allow gentle airflow, which prevents mold, while maintaining just enough moisture to keep the bread soft. If you live in a humid area or don't eat bread quickly, here's a golden tip: slice the loaf, then freeze it. Freezing stops the aging process cold, literally, without the damage caused by refrigeration. When you want to slice toast, it's straight from the freezer. Don't thaw it first, or you'll risk sogginess. Have you tried freezing bread instead of refrigerating it? Or do you have a family trick for keeping it soft longer? Share your tips below. We'd love to hear what works in your kitchen. Number 6. Honey. Nature's miracle food. Ruined by the refrigerator. It's golden, it's healing, and it never spoils until we put it in the fridge. That's right. Refrigerating honey is one of the fastest ways to ruin its natural magic, especially for seniors who rely on its soothing, immune-boosting qualities. When stored in cold environments, honey begins to crystallize quickly, turning from a smooth golden liquid into a gritty, solid mess. Though crystallization is not dangerous, it changes everything from texture and flavor to how honey behaves in your tea toast or natural remedies. Even more concerning, the cold encourages moisture condensation inside the jar. That extra water disrupts honey's balance and creates an environment where fermentation and bacterial growth may sneak in. Honey is naturally low in water and rich in natural sugars, which is why it can last virtually forever if stored properly. But when you open a cold jar, condensation forms, adding just enough moisture to shift the chemistry. This doesn't just make the honey gritty, it weakens its antibacterial power. According to a report from the National Honey Board, honey stored below 50 degrees Celsius can lose up to 35% of its antimicrobial properties within weeks. These properties are what give honey its reputation as nature's antibiotic, used for centuries to soothe coughs, heal wounds, and protect the gut. Honey also contains over 180 natural compounds, antioxidants, enzymes, flavonoids, all of which begin to break down unevenly in cold conditions. The result, a bland, sticky substance that tastes more like processed syrup than the rich nectar bees worked so hard to create. For seniors, honey isn't just a sweetener, it's a functional food. Many use it to ease inflammation, soothe sore throats, improve sleep, or even support digestion. Losing its therapeutic compounds due to refrigeration is a major loss. Plus, crystallized honey can be difficult to dissolve in warm drinks or spread on toast, especially for those with hand stiffness or arthritis. It also loses that calming aroma that makes a nightly cup of honey tea so comforting. Keep your honey at room temperature between 64 to 75 degrees in a tightly sealed glass jar away from sunlight and heat. No need for fancy storage, just keep the lid tight and the honey in a dry place like your pantry. If your honey does crystallize, don't throw it away. Just place the jar in warm, not boiling water and stir gently. The crystals will dissolve and the honey will return to its smooth state without losing its goodness. And here's a bonus: darker honeys like buckwheat or wildflower contain more antioxidants than light varieties, but they're also more sensitive to cold. Protect their potency by skipping the fridge. Have you ever noticed your honey turning cloudy or hard? What kind of honey do you use most, light or dark? Tell us below, and let's swap senior-friendly honey tips. Number 5. Coffee. How the fridge ruins your morning brew. For many of us, coffee is more than a beverage, it's a daily ritual. Especially in our golden years, a warm, comforting cup can feel like the perfect start to the day. But if you're storing your coffee in the refrigerator, you may be unknowingly destroying its flavor, aroma, and even your digestive peace. Coffee is naturally porous, meaning it soaks up everything around it. So when you put it in the fridge, it doesn't just sit quietly. Instead, it absorbs odors from leftovers, onions, cheese, and even old takeout boxes. The result, a brew that smells oddly like last night's dinner. Even worse, cold storage causes condensation to form on your beans or grounds every time the container goes in and out of the fridge. That moisture ruins the oils that carry coffee's flavor and aroma, leading to dull, lifeless cups. According to research from the Specialty Coffee Association, refrigerated coffee loses up to 60% of its aromatic compounds in just 1 week. Why? Because the natural oils in coffee solidify in the cold, and when ground or brewed cold, they fail to extract properly. You're left with a flat, bitter drink that doesn't feel worth the wait. And it's not just about taste. Those cold, damp beans are also more prone to mold, a serious concern for older adults with sensitive digestion or weakened immunity. For seniors, the implications go beyond flavor. Bitter or stale coffee is harder on the stomach, potentially leading to heartburn, bloating, or acid reflux, especially on an empty stomach. Plus, the loss of natural antioxidants and polyphenols, which support heart and brain health, means you're missing out on some of coffee's biggest health benefits. And let's be honest, starting your day with a disappointing cup just isn't the same. You deserve better. So what's the fix? Keep your coffee in an opaque, airtight container at room temperature, preferably between 60–70 degrees Celsius. Make sure it's away from direct sunlight and far from your stovetop, which can raise humidity. Here's a bonus tip. Buy smaller batches of freshly roasted coffee and use it within 2 to 3 weeks of opening. That way your beans stay fresh, flavorful and rich in healthful compounds. If you must store coffee longer, freeze it, but only once. Divide it into small weekly portions in airtight freezer bags. Once defrosted, don't refreeze. Moisture damage is irreversible. And please skip the fridge. It's a shortcut to bad coffee and wasted money. Have you ever noticed your coffee tasting off after storing it in the fridge? What's your favorite coffee storage hack? Share your experiences. Your morning routine might just inspire someone else. Number 4, garlic. The fridge mistake that destroys its healing power. Garlic isn't just a flavor booster, it's one of nature's most powerful medicines. For seniors especially, garlic is known to support heart health, immune function, and blood pressure control. But when you refrigerate it, you don't just lose flavor, you lose nearly half its healing potential. And worse, you may create a dangerous mold trap. Once garlic enters the cold, humid environment of your refrigerator, it begins to sprout. You've probably seen those little green shoots poking out from the cloves. They're bitter tough and hard to digest. But that's just the beginning. Cold storage also creates moisture buildup, turning garlic soft and damp. This accelerates spoilage and invites mold, some of which can produce mycotoxins, toxic compounds that are especially risky for older adults. Garlic's powerhouse compound is called allicin. It's what gives garlic its pungent smell and its long list of medicinal benefits, from antibacterial and antiviral effects to anti-inflammatory properties. But studies, including one from UC Davis, show that garlic stored in refrigeration loses up to 50% of its allicin content within just 10 days. That means if you refrigerate a bulb for even a short time, the benefits you count on, like blood pressure support or immune defense, are significantly reduced. Cold air also breaks down garlic's cell structure. That's why refrigerated garlic turns mushy when chopped and becomes sticky paste instead of clean, sharp pieces. Not only does this make cooking more difficult, but the flavor becomes dull and unpleasant. For seniors managing cholesterol, hypertension, or infection risks, garlic can be a valuable part of a health plan. But once its bioactive compounds degrade, it becomes just another bland vegetable without the protective power your body truly needs. Also, spoiled garlic is a food safety concern. Soft cloves with discoloration or a musty odor can harbor harmful bacteria or mold, especially dangerous for immune-compromised adults. Keep garlic in a cool, dry, and well-ventilated place, ideally around 60-65 degrees. A mesh bag, open basket, or even a ceramic garlic pot will do just fine. Never seal garlic in plastic, and don't store it near your stove or windowsill. Heat and light accelerate sprouting. Once you break the bulb, try to use the cloves within 7 to 10 days. And if you need pre-prepped garlic, consider mincing a few cloves and mixing them with olive oil stored in the fridge for up to 1 week, but only if you'll use it quickly. Otherwise, stick to whole cloves at room temperature. Have you ever struggled with sprouting or mushy garlic? What's your favorite way to store or use garlic at home? Drop your tips in the comments. Someone else might be dealing with the same garlic dilemma. Number 3. Bananas. A tropical fruit that freezes under pressure. Bananas are one of the most beloved fruits for seniors, easy to chew, rich in potassium, and great for digestion. But if you've ever popped one in the fridge to make it last longer, you may have noticed it turns black, mushy, and loses its bright flavor. That's not just cosmetic. Refrigeration causes real damage from the inside out. Within just a day or two in the fridge, bananas undergo what scientists call chilling injury. Their skin darkens rapidly, and the creamy flesh inside becomes watery and soft, losing the smooth, satisfying texture you expect. But it's more than unpleasant. The nutrients start breaking down too. Bananas are tropical fruits. Their biology wasn't designed for cold climates. So when you put them below 55 degrees, their cell membranes rupture and the fruit starts to rot from the inside, even if it looks intact at first glance. According to a study by the Queensland Department of Agriculture, bananas stored below 56 degrees lose over 80% of their vitamin C in just 5 days. That's a huge blow for older adults relying on bananas for immune support and antioxidant protection. Worse, refrigeration halts the banana's natural ripening process, one that boosts flavor and nutrient levels. A refrigerated banana not only stops gaining nutrients, it also loses the ones it had. The brown spots on the skin. They're not just ugly. They signal tissue death beneath the surface. And dead tissue can create an environment where bacteria or mold thrive even if it's not visible yet. This is especially important for seniors. Overripe or chilled bananas can become difficult to digest, overly sweet or mushy, making them hard to swallow and potentially upsetting to sensitive stomachs. Plus, the drop in vitamin C and antioxidants means you're no longer getting the same benefits for joint health, immunity, or collagen support, critical areas for aging bodies. Keep your bananas at room temperature, ideally between 56–70 degrees, and hang them on a banana hook to avoid bruises. Let them ripen naturally. If you need to slow down the ripening, wrap the stems with plastic wrap. This reduces ethylene gas release, which speeds ripening. Need to ripen bananas faster? Place them in a paper bag with an apple. The ethylene from the apple will accelerate the process safely. And if your bananas are perfectly ripe but you can't eat them all, peel and freeze them. Frozen bananas are perfect for smoothies or banana-based ice cream. They maintain more nutrients that way and give a creamy texture that's ideal for soft diets. Do you prefer your bananas firm or ripe and spotty? Have you tried freezing them for smoothies? Let us know your favorite banana trick. We're always learning from our senior community. Number 2. Onions. The fridge trap that turns sweet into spoiled. You might think tossing an onion into the fridge will keep it fresh longer, but in reality, it's doing the opposite. Refrigerating whole onions creates a moisture-rich, mold-prone environment that transforms this heart-healthy vegetable into a sticky, smelly mess. And for seniors, it can mean more than just spoiled dinner prep. Inside your fridge, humidity often hovers around 90–95%, far higher than onions can tolerate. The papery outer skin begins to absorb this moisture, softening and peeling prematurely. Underneath, the layers become slimy, and sometimes you'll even notice dark spots or strange smells, early signs of mold or bacterial growth. Even if it doesn't look bad, yet refrigerating onions begins a slow process of internal breakdown that's difficult to reverse. The cold converts starches into sugars, changing how onions behave when cooked, and not for the better. A study from Texas A&M University showed that refrigerated onions experienced a 270% increase in sugar content after 2 weeks. That makes them taste unexpectedly sweet, not great if you're aiming for rich caramelization in a stew or savory sauté. Cold storage also leads to ice crystal formation inside the onion cells. These crystals rupture the delicate membranes, making the onion mushy and harder to slice, especially for seniors with limited grip strength. Most concerning of all, high moisture plus warmth, like when the fridge door opens frequently, creates the perfect storm for mold. Some molds on onions produce aflatoxins, compounds identified by the World Health Organization as highly carcinogenic, something no one should be exposing themselves to, especially in older age. For older adults, spoiled onions don't just mean wasted money. Moldy produce increases the risk of digestive issues, respiratory irritation, and long-term toxin exposure, particularly dangerous for those with weakened immune systems or chronic conditions. Soft onions also pose a cooking hazard. They slip while slicing and often produce unpredictable flavors in meals, making them harder to rely on in balanced diets. Keep whole onions in a cool, dry, and ventilated space between 45–55 degrees. Store them in a mesh bag, wire basket, or even an old pair of clean pantyhose. Yes, really. These options provide airflow and help prevent moisture buildup. Avoid plastic bags at all costs. They trap humidity and suffocate the onion. Also remember, never store onions next to potatoes. They release gases that cause both to spoil faster. Once you've cut an onion, that's the one exception, refrigerate it in an airtight container and use it within 5 to 7 days. Just don't ever return it to the shelf with the whole ones. Do you refrigerate your onions? Or do you have a pantry trick passed down from your parents? Share your method below. Let's preserve our onions and our memories at the same time. Number 1. Tomatoes. The fridge mistake that silently destroys their nutrients. Tomatoes are more than just salad toppers or sandwich fillers. They're nutritional powerhouses packed with lycopene, vitamin C, and natural antioxidants that support heart and prostate health. But when stored in the fridge, you might as well kiss their flavor and their health benefits goodbye. For older adults, this one mistake could be costing you more than you think. Put a ripe tomato in the refrigerator, and within 24 hours, its texture becomes grainy. Its skin loses firmness, and its sweet, tangy flavor starts to fade. Worse, the fridge's cold air causes ice crystals to form inside the tomato's cells, breaking them open and releasing moisture. What's left is a mealy, watery fruit that's barely recognizable. But what's going on beneath the surface is even more disturbing. Groundbreaking research from the University of Florida revealed that refrigeration actually shuts down genes in tomatoes, specifically the genes responsible for producing flavor and aroma compounds. That's right. The moment your tomato dips below 54 degrees, it begins to lose its identity at the genetic level. Even if you bring it back to room temperature, those genes don't turn back on. The tomato is permanently altered, its flavor locked away forever. What's more, cold temperatures reduce lycopene bioavailability by up to 65%. And lycopene isn't just a colorful pigment, it's one of the most studied antioxidants in aging research, known for supporting heart health, cancer prevention, and cognitive protection. Refrigeration also destroys enzymes needed to absorb what little lycopene remains, meaning the benefits are doubly lost. For seniors, this is a big deal. Lycopene has been linked to reduced risk of stroke, macular degeneration, and even skin protection from UV damage. But if your tomatoes are chilled, you're not getting the nutritional bang for your buck. Plus, the change in texture makes them harder to slice, less pleasant to chew, and frustrating to cook with. Ever tried making a fresh tomato salad from refrigerated tomatoes? It often ends in disappointment and waste. Keep tomatoes at room temperature, ideally between 55 to 70 degrees, and store them stem side down. This prevents air and moisture from entering the fruit through the stem scar, keeping it firmer longer. Avoid direct sunlight, which can over-ripen the fruit, but don't tuck them away in dark cabinets either. Tomatoes need indirect light to maintain their nutrients. Never store them in plastic bags. Ethylene gas needs to escape during ripening. If trapped, it accelerates rotting and can turn one bad tomato into 5. Too many tomatoes at once make a simple sauce and freeze it. Cooked tomatoes not only last longer, but the heat actually boosts lycopene absorption, a win-win for taste and health. Have you ever noticed how your tomatoes taste dull after refrigeration? Do you store them on the counter or in the fridge? Let us know. Your habit might help someone reclaim their tomatoes' full flavor. We often think of our refrigerator as the ultimate protector, keeping our food safe, our kitchens clean, and our meals convenient. But today, we've uncovered a truth many of us didn't realize sometimes, that cold storage is quietly doing more harm than good, especially for aging bodies that depend on every vitamin, every texture, every ounce of nourishment. As we get older, our nutritional needs become more precise. We don't just eat to feel full, we eat to stay strong, think clearly, and live well. That's why proper food storage matters more than ever. It's not about being perfect, it's about being intentional. So whether it's moving your garlic to a dry corner, hanging your bananas on a hook, or finally freeing your tomatoes from the fridge, it's these small, thoughtful changes that can lead to better digestion, stronger immunity, and more flavorful meals. I've seen it in my own kitchen. After making these changes, my fruits lasted longer, my vegetables tasted better, and I felt more connected to what I was putting into my body. Even my morning coffee regained its bold, comforting aroma, and that's saying something. So here's my challenge to you. Choose one item from today's list, just one, and give it a new home. See what happens. You might be surprised at the difference it makes. And now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these foods shocked you the most? Have you been refrigerating something for years without knowing the damage? Share your stories in the comments. I read everyone. Let's learn together, grow together, and keep. Over 95% of seniors over 65 already have early signs of cataracts. Tiny clouds are forming silently in their eyes, blurring vision, fading colors, and making nighttime driving harder every day. For decades, we've been led to believe that cataracts are just normal aging. That fading vision is a one-way road. But new research and ancient wisdom reveal something surprisingly hopeful. Certain everyday fruits can help slow and even reverse the early signs of cataracts. Backed by peer-reviewed science, these fruits may protect lens proteins, dissolve early clouding, and restore clarity to your eyes. And best of all, you probably already have them at home. Today's video reveals 7 fruits ranked from helpful to life-changing based on actual studies and clinical trials. But before we begin, let me ask, have you noticed cloudiness when reading or driving at night? Has your doctor mentioned cataracts but told you to wait and see? Leave your answer in the comments. We reply to everyone with care and advice. Number 7. Red apples, everyday fruit, extraordinary power. We tend to overlook the humble red apple. It's so common that we forget how powerful it truly is, especially for your eyes. But did you know that eating just 1 apple a day, skin and all, could help you protect your vision and slow down the development of cataracts? The secret lies in the apple's skin. That's where you'll find a compound called quercetin, a plant-based antioxidant that shields your eye's lens from oxidative stress. Think of it as an invisible pair of safety goggles for your eyes. Here's what happens. As we age, the proteins in our eye's lens can become damaged and clump together, just like egg whites turning solid when they're heated. These clumps are what make your vision look cloudy, especially at night or in bright sunlight. But quercetin helps prevent those proteins from clumping by neutralizing free radicals before they can do harm. A study from Cornell University followed nearly 500 adults over 5 years. Those who ate red apples daily, specifically the varieties like Red Delicious and Gala, saw a 27% lower risk of developing cataracts. That's a meaningful number, especially when you consider how easy it is to make apples part of your morning routine. And yes, the key is the skin. That's where quercetin is most concentrated. Peeled apples just won't cut it. So how should you eat it? Enjoy a red apple first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. Slice it thin to make chewing easier, especially if you have dentures. Chew slowly to help release the antioxidants locked inside the fibers. Choose organic if possible to avoid pesticide residue on the skin. Let me share a real-life story. Michael, a 58-year-old accountant, spent most of his days under harsh fluorescent lights, staring at spreadsheets. He noticed his vision was getting blurrier, and driving at night became difficult because of halos around headlights. His doctor mentioned early signs of cataracts. Instead of rushing to change his prescription glasses again, he made a simple change. He added 1 organic red apple to his mornings every day. 4 months later, the halos were less intense, and his eye exam showed his cataracts had barely progressed. It wasn't magic, it was nutrition doing its quiet work over time. Now a gentle note. If you have diabetes or blood sugar concerns, choose tart apples like Granny Smith, which are lower in sugar. Small habits done daily can change the course of your health. And in this case, something as simple as an apple could be the first step toward clearer vision. Let's move on to the next fruit, one that's tiny, juicy, and packs an antioxidant punch, unlike anything else. Number 6. Purple grapes, tiny gems for vision protection. They may be small, but don't underestimate the power of purple grapes, especially when it comes to protecting your eyes. Grapes, especially the dark purple seedless kind, are loaded with resveratrol and anthocyanins, two compounds that work like bodyguards for your vision. They don't just protect your eyes from damage. They may actually slow or even slightly reverse early signs of cataract formation. Let's break that down. Anthocyanins are what give grapes their deep purple color. Once inside your body, these antioxidants travel to your eyes, where they neutralize harmful free radicals, the unstable molecules that attack healthy eye tissue. Meanwhile, resveratrol concentrated in grape skins goes to work activating genes that protect your lens from aging. Think of it as turning on your eye's natural defense system. In a major study from the University of Missouri, researchers tracked over 1,800 adults for a decade. The group that regularly ate half a cup of purple grapes a day had 34% less lens clouding compared to those who didn't eat grapes at all. That's one handful a day. No pills, no prescriptions, just grapes. For best results, choose dark purple seedless grapes like Concord or black varieties. Wash them well and eat them. Chilled cold grapes slow the sugar absorption, which helps stabilize blood sugar. Eat them between meals, not with meals, to improve antioxidant absorption. You can even freeze them for a refreshing mid-afternoon snack that doubles as eye nutrition. Here's the story of Maria, a 62-year-old retired teacher and lifelong book lover. A few years ago, she noticed that the words in her mystery novels were getting harder to see. Her doctor said early cataracts were forming and suggested surgery within the year. Instead, Maria met with a nutritionist who recommended frozen Concord grapes every afternoon, a simple addition to her daily routine. 6 months later, Maria's eye exam told a different story. Her cataract progression had slowed dramatically, and the lens in one eye even showed slight improvement in clarity. No surgery, no drops, just grapes and consistency. Today, Maria still reads her novels with ease, sometimes 2 in a weekend. Now a quick caution. If you're on blood thinners or anticoagulant medications, it's wise to check with your doctor before adding grapes in large amounts, as resveratrol can mildly affect blood flow. But for most seniors, this fruit is a gentle, natural ally, one that can be found at your local grocery store, already washed and waiting in a plastic bag. Sometimes healing doesn't come in a bottle. It comes in a bowl on your kitchen table. Next up, let's talk about a golden tropical fruit that's been hiding some eye-healing magic of its own. Number 5, ripe mango, the sunshine fruit that defends your eyes. Few fruits capture the feeling of summer quite like a ripe mango. Sweet, juicy, and vibrant mangoes feel like a treat. But beneath that golden flesh lies a blend of nutrients that can actually help protect your vision and support your eye's natural clarity. It all starts with beta-carotene, a plant pigment that your body converts into vitamin A, essential for maintaining a clear and healthy lens. But mangoes also contain another star player, zeaxanthin, a nutrient that directly accumulates in the retina and lens, where it works like natural sunglasses, filtering out damaging blue light from screens and sunlight. Combined, these compounds do more than protect. They can actually help restore some transparency in lenses that are beginning to cloud. A study from the All India Institute of Medical Sciences followed over 900 patients with early-stage cataracts. After 6 months of eating 1 cup of ripe mango, daily participants experienced an 11% improvement in lens clarity. That's no small feat, especially without surgery or medication. But timing and preparation matter. Eat your mango when it's fully ripe, yellow-orange, and slightly soft to the touch. Avoid combining mango with sugary foods or desserts, as this can cause blood sugar spikes. Try enjoying it alone in the mid-morning, or pair it with a small handful of almonds to balance absorption and sugar. Some people even blend mango into a smoothie with spinach or avocado for added eye-nourishing benefits. Let's meet Harold, a 64-year-old retired train conductor. He loved woodworking, But over time he noticed that the paint colors on his miniature models were starting to blend together. Reds looked like oranges. Blues turned gray. His eye exam confirmed the beginning of cataracts and a loss in his ability to distinguish colors clearly. Instead of giving up his craft, Harold decided to fight back naturally. He began eating one ripe mango every morning, followed by a glass of water. Within 5 months, he told his doctor he was once again able to match paint colors without second-guessing. His follow-up eye exam showed a noticeable improvement in color perception, and although his cataracts hadn't disappeared, they had stabilized enough to delay surgery indefinitely. Now, one important note: mangoes are naturally sweet. If you're managing blood sugar or have prediabetes or diabetes, keep portions reasonable. A half cup still offers great benefits with less sugar. Mango isn't just a tropical pleasure, it's a practical, powerful fruit for protecting your eyesight. A spoonful of sunshine that nourishes more than just your taste buds. Next, we'll dive into a tiny berry that grows in the wild and may hold one of the most potent natural weapons against lens damage yet. Number 4. Wild blueberries, nature's repair crew for your eyes. Tiny but mighty wild blueberries are some of the most powerful eye protectors nature has to offer. And if you're over 60, they might just become your new favorite snack because they don't just help prevent cataracts. They may actually help reverse the damage already done. What makes wild blueberries so special? It's a class of plant compounds called anthocyanins, the deep purple pigments responsible for their vibrant color. These natural antioxidants travel straight to your eyes and help repair lens proteins damaged by aging sunlight and sugar. Unlike many fruits that only offer protection, wild blueberries are unique in that they can help break the cross-linking that causes proteins in the lens to clump and turn cloudy. Researchers in Japan studied over 2,300 adults and found that those who ate 1 cup of wild blueberries daily had a 38% lower need for cataract surgery over 15 years. That's a powerful statistic, especially when it's backed by peer-reviewed science. What's more, wild blueberries contain double the anthocyanins compared to the regular cultivated kind you usually find in plastic pints at the store. If you can find frozen wild blueberries, you're in luck. They may even be better than fresh, due to how freezing breaks down the berries' cell walls, making the nutrients easier to absorb. To get the most out of them, eat half a cup in the morning and half in the evening to maintain antioxidant levels all day. Pair them with a small portion of kefir or full-fat yogurt. The healthy fats help your body absorb the anthocyanins more effectively. Avoid combining blueberries with iron-rich foods like red meat, which can reduce their potency. Let me tell you about Linda, a 68-year-old watercolor artist from Vermont. A few years ago, her doctor told her she had developing cataracts in both eyes. Her biggest fear wasn't driving or reading, it was losing the ability to paint the delicate landscapes that brought her joy. Linda began a simple routine: 1 cup of wild blueberries every day, split between breakfast and her evening snack. She also reduced her processed sugar intake and started wearing sunglasses outdoors. A year and a half later, her follow-up eye exam revealed something remarkable: 20% improvement in her right eye and 15% in her left, with no surgery required. Even her color perception had sharpened. Today, Linda still paints with the same detail and softness that made her work special, and she credits blueberries as a big part of her comeback. A final tip when buying frozen wild blueberries: look for labels that say wild or from Maine. Those are typically higher quality. Up next, we'll talk about a fuzzy little fruit that holds a golden secret for eye health, and it might surprise you. Number 3. Golden kiwi, the gentle powerhouse for clear vision. You might pass them by in the produce aisle, sitting quietly next to apples and bananas. But golden kiwis are one of the best-kept secrets for eye health, especially when it comes to protecting your lens and slowing cataracts. These little fruits are packed with vitamin C even more than oranges by weight, and they also offer a rare combination of vitamin E lutein and zeaxanthin. That's a dream team of antioxidants for your eyes. Here's how they help. Lutein and zeaxanthin act like internal filters, protecting your eyes from harmful blue light and reducing glare sensitivity. Meanwhile, vitamin C and E team up to fight oxidative stress, preventing damage to the lens proteins that are critical for clear vision. A long-term study in New Zealand involving over 1,400 adults found that those who ate 2 golden kiwis per day had a 36% lower risk of developing cataracts, and those who already had mild cataracts saw the progression slow by up to 28%. That's a big deal. And it's a simple change anyone can make. To get the most benefit, eat your kiwi with a healthy fat like a quarter of an avocado or a handful of walnuts. This increases your body's ability to absorb lutein and zeaxanthin by up to 3 times. If you can handle the texture, eat the skin, especially with organic kiwis. The skin has additional antioxidants, and golden kiwis tend to have a smoother, thinner skin than the green variety. Best time mid-morning or with breakfast, when vitamin C absorption tends to peak. Let's talk about Thomas, a 60-year-old pilot who had flown small aircraft for decades. When he learned he had early cataracts, his heart sank. Pilots must meet strict vision standards, and any further decline could end his flying career. Determined to take control, Thomas began eating 2 golden kiwis with a slice of avocado every morning, along with wearing high-quality UV-blocking sunglasses outdoors. After 1 year, his mandatory aviation eye exam brought good news. His cataracts hadn't progressed, and even better, his contrast sensitivity had improved, meaning he could spot details more easily in dim light. His license was renewed, and he continues flying today with a kiwi in his travel bag just in case. A quick note for those watching: their sugar golden kiwis are sweeter than green ones, so if you're managing blood sugar, you might start with 1 per day and build up as tolerated. Small, fuzzy, and often overlooked golden kiwis remind us that healing doesn't have to come in large packages. Next, we'll explore a rich, dark fruit that helps your eyes recover while you sleep, and it's as delicious as it is effective. Number 2. Dark cherries, nighttime nourishment for your eyes. As the sun goes down, your eyes begin a process of quiet recovery. And if you're over 60, what you eat in the evening might matter more than you think, especially when it comes to cataracts. That's where dark cherries come in. These sweet, rich fruits are more than a summer treat. They contain a powerful mix of anthocyanins and natural melatonin, a combination that supports nighttime healing in your eyes. Let's break that down. Anthocyanins are the same eye protective pigments found in blueberries and grapes. They help prevent the clumping and clouding of lens proteins, a key step in cataract formation. But what sets cherries apart is their naturally occurring melatonin, a hormone that not only helps you sleep, but also plays a role in the repair and regeneration of eye tissues during rest. In a clinical study out of Finland, adults who consumed tart cherry extract before bed showed measurable improvements in overnight retinal repair and reduced signs of oxidative stress in the lens. But even without extracts, fresh dark cherries, especially the sweet Bing or Lapins varieties, offer these benefits in a delicious, accessible form. For best results, eat a small bowl of cherries after dinner, ideally an hour before bed. Avoid combining them with foods high in iron or heavy meat, as these can reduce anthocyanin absorption. If fresh cherries aren't available, unsweetened frozen cherries or tart cherry juice without added sugar can be good alternatives. Here's the story of Evelyn, a 66-year-old grandmother who loved taking evening walks. But over time, she noticed increasing glare and starbursts from headlights, making nighttime driving difficult and stressful. Her doctor found early-stage cataracts, especially in her dominant eye. Evelyn wasn't ready for surgery, and she wanted to explore gentle options first. A wellness coach recommended adding dark cherries as her nightly dessert, replacing her usual cookies. She made the switch, 1 cup of cherries around 8 p.m. Not long after, Evelyn reported deeper sleep, fewer middle-of-the-night wake-ups, and most notably reduced night glare within 3 months. Her follow-up eye exam confirmed the cataracts hadn't worsened. In fact, her lens clarity was slightly improved. A quick note of caution. If you're currently taking prescription sleep aids or managing medications that affect serotonin or melatonin levels, it's best to check with your doctor before adding cherries daily. Natural doesn't always mean neutral. But for most older adults, dark cherries are a gentle, pleasant way to support eye health, especially while your body is at rest. And now we've reached the final fruit on our list. It's tiny, it's ancient, and it's earned the top spot for a reason. Number 1. Organic goji berries, the #1 vision-saving superfruit. If there's one fruit that deserves a crown when it comes to protecting your eyes, it's this one: organic goji berries. They may be small, but their impact on cataract prevention is anything but. For centuries, goji berries, also known as wolfberries, have been prized in traditional Chinese medicine for their ability to support vision, especially as we age. Now modern science is catching up and confirming what ancient wisdom long suspected. Goji berries are packed with zeaxanthin, the same carotenoid found in leafy greens and egg yolks, but in much higher concentrations. In fact, goji berries contain up to 200 times more zeaxanthin than oranges, and this compound is crucial for shielding the lens from harmful UV rays and oxidative stress. But what truly sets goji berries apart is something called LBP, short for Lycium barbarum polysaccharides. These rare plant compounds have a remarkable ability to stimulate your eye's natural antioxidant enzymes, helping your lens actively protect and even repair itself. A major Chinese study tracked nearly 4,000 adults over 20 years and found that participants who consumed just 15 grams of dried goji berries per day had a 52% lower risk of developing cataracts. Even more stunning, 31% of early-stage cases saw partial reversal of lens clouding without surgical intervention. That's not a miracle. That's food as powerful medicine. To get the most out of goji berries, choose organic dried berries to avoid pesticide residues. Goji plants are known to absorb heavy sprays if conventionally grown. Soak 1 to 2 tablespoons, about 15 to 30 grams, in warm water for 10-15 minutes before consuming. Drink the soaking water. It contains soluble nutrients like zeaxanthin that you don't want to miss. For a stronger effect, try a 30-gram eye health boost daily for 2 to 3 months. Then return to a maintenance dose of 15 grams. Let's meet David, a 71-year-old retired engineer and volunteer computer teacher. When he was told he had advanced cataracts and would likely need surgery within 3 months, he was devastated. He relied on sharp vision to help his students navigate small text on screens. Before proceeding with surgery, David asked his eye doctor for a little time to try something natural. Under the guidance of a holistic ophthalmologist, he began soaking and consuming 30 grams of organic goji berries daily, along with increasing vitamin C and cutting out processed food. After 3 months, his pre-surgery evaluation showed something remarkable. His right eye's cataract had reduced from grade 3 to grade 2, and the left eye showed a 25% increase in lens clarity. Surgery postponed. And 2 years later, he's still helping seniors learn to use smartphones without needing the procedure. Goji berries aren't just a superfood. They're a symbol of hope that maybe, just maybe, vision loss isn't something we must accept as we age. Now let's bring everything together with one final message just for you. So what have we learned? Cataracts may be common after age 60, but they are not inevitable, and they are certainly not a life sentence. You don't have to wait for your world to fade into fog or feel pressured to rush into surgery without exploring your options. What you put on your plate today may protect your eyesight tomorrow. From the humble red apple to the mighty goji berry, each of these 7 fruits offers something unique: protection, nourishment, and in some cases, even a little bit of reversal. They're not magic, but when used consistently, backed by science and tradition, they can help you preserve your independence, your hobbies, your joy of seeing. Personally, if I had to pick just one to start with, I'd reach for red apples or grapes. They're affordable, easy to find, and gentle on the body. But the best fruit is the one you're most likely to eat again and again, day after day. Remember, always talk to your doctor or eye specialist, especially if you have other conditions or are taking medications. This video is for educational purposes and doesn't replace professional medical advice. Now I want to hear from you. Have you tried any of these fruits regularly? Which one are you excited to start with? Has someone in your family experienced cataracts? Did they go the surgery route or try something natural? 3 seafoods you should never eat after 60, and 3 you should start including on your plate for better memory, joints, and heart health. You may think you're making healthy choices from the ocean, but new research from leading institutions like Mayo Clinic and Harvard reveals a hidden danger. Certain seafoods, often labeled as brain food or heart healthy, could actually speed up memory loss, worsen joint inflammation, and raise blood pressure in older adults. Even more surprising, these seafoods are still sold in stores today, and many seniors eat them every week without realizing the damage. Meanwhile, lesser-known ocean foods are quietly showing powerful benefits, rebuilding cartilage, improving focus, and reducing inflammation by up to 45%. One rare seafood even reversed key aging markers in lab studies. So why haven't we heard about this before? Because these studies are buried deep in medical journals, and the seafood industry has no interest in making them public. In today's video, we're cutting through the confusion. You'll discover 4 seafoods that may silently sabotage your health, and 4 that could help you stay mobile, independent, and sharp well into your 70s and 80s. Before we begin, a quick question. Have you ever felt brain fog or joint pain after a seafood meal? Let us know in the comments. We read and reply to every story. And if you're passionate about health tips backed by real science, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more senior-friendly advice. Now let's begin with the first seafood you should avoid after 60. Harmful food. Number 1. Raw. Oysters from warm waters. Let's start with a seafood that's often considered a fancy delicacy: raw oysters, especially those harvested from warmer coastal waters. But for older adults, indulging in these might be more than just risky. It could be life-threatening. Why? Because raw oysters, particularly from the Gulf of Mexico and other warm regions, often carry a dangerous bacterium called Vibrio vulnificus. This isn't just a mild stomach bug, it's an aggressive, fast-moving infection that preys on weakened immune systems. And unfortunately, as we age, our immune response naturally declines. According to the CDC, people over 60 are up to 80 times more likely to suffer severe complications from Vibrio infections than younger adults. And in those with diabetes, liver disease, or other chronic conditions, the risk multiplies even further. In extreme cases, this infection can lead to a type of blood poisoning called septicemia, which can cause organ failure, amputations, and even death, all within days. One report documented that over 95% of fatal Vibrio cases occurred in people over 60. The symptoms might seem harmless at first, just a little nausea or fatigue, but within 24 hours it can escalate to fever, chills, skin lesions, and dangerously low blood pressure. So how can you stay safe without giving up seafood entirely? The solution is simple: never eat raw oysters if you're over 60. If you love the flavor, opt for fully cooked oysters instead, grilled, steamed, or baked. Heat kills the bacteria completely, making them safe to enjoy. And if you're looking for a safer substitute, consider steamed mussels. They're rich in zinc and vitamin B12 just like oysters, but are far less likely to carry dangerous pathogens when properly cooked. For seniors, raw oysters from warm waters pose a serious risk of deadly bacterial infection. Cooking them thoroughly is not optional, it's essential. Harmful food. Number 2, king mackerel. Next up is a fish that looks healthy on the surface but hides a toxic secret beneath its shiny skin, king mackerel. You'll often see king mackerel sold in fish markets and featured in seafood steaks. It's a large, firm-fleshed fish that seems like a nutritious pick, until you look a little deeper. What makes this fish so dangerous for older adults? One word: mercury. King mackerel is what scientists call a top predator fish. That means it eats a long chain of smaller fish, and with each bite it absorbs more mercury. Over time, this heavy metal builds up in its tissues, and when you eat that fish, you're absorbing those toxins directly. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, king mackerel consistently ranks among the highest mercury fish available on the market. And for people over 60, this matters more than ever. Why? Because mercury isn't just about food safety, it directly affects your brain and nervous system. Harvard researchers found that older adults who consumed high mercury fish regularly experienced 30% faster cognitive decline than those who avoided them. That means more forgetfulness, more confusion, and less independence. Early symptoms are subtle tremors, memory fog, and difficulty concentrating. But long-term exposure can lead to permanent nerve damage and even increase the risk of Alzheimer's disease. Thankfully, you have better choices. Swap king mackerel with Atlantic mackerel, a smaller cousin with 75% less mercury, but just as much heart-healthy omega-3. Or even better, go for wild salmon sardines or herring, which offer powerful brain benefits without the toxic load. And here's something worth noting: if you've eaten king mackerel frequently in the past, it's a smart idea to talk to your doctor about a heavy metal blood test. Early intervention can make a big difference. King mackerel may be rich in omega-3s, but the mercury risk far outweighs the benefits. For seniors, choose lower mercury fish instead for brain and nerve health. Harmful food. Number 3, imported shrimp from Southeast Asia. Now let's talk about a seafood that's on many American dinner tables, especially because it's cheap, versatile, and easy to cook. We're talking about imported shrimp, especially those from Southeast Asia. But here's the catch, literally. Over 90% of shrimp sold in U.S. supermarkets comes from large-scale farms in countries like Thailand, Vietnam, and China. And these farms often operate in conditions that would shock most people. Why should this matter to you? Because these shrimp are frequently raised in overcrowded ponds polluted with waste chemicals and antibiotics, many of which are banned in the U.S. Shrimp farmers use them to prevent disease and speed up growth in filthy environments. But when you eat that shrimp, those residues can accumulate in your body. A Consumer Reports investigation found that 6 out of 10 samples of imported shrimp contain traces of illegal or dangerous substances, including antibiotics, linked to anemia, kidney damage, and even cancer. And for older adults whose detox systems are already slowing down, these chemicals can stick around longer and do more harm. Even worse, long-term exposure can lower your immune response, increase fatigue, and make you more vulnerable to antibiotic-resistant infections. One study from Texas found traces of over 160 different drug compounds in imported shrimp samples, including several banned in food production. Now, this doesn't mean you have to give up shrimp forever. Just make a smarter switch. Choose wild-caught American shrimp from the Gulf of Mexico or Atlantic coast. Yes, they cost more, but they're cleaner, safer, and honestly taste better too. If budget is a concern, buy frozen wild shrimp in smaller amounts. You get more nutrition, less risk. And remember, food safety is especially critical after 60. What was once just a stomach bug in your 30s could now turn into a serious health threat. Imported farmed shrimp may be cheap, but the chemical contamination can put seniors at serious risk. Choose wild-caught American shrimp to stay safe and strong. Beneficial food. Number 1. Pacific Sardines. When it comes to affordable, powerful superfoods from the ocean, Pacific Sardines might just be the best-kept secret for folks over 60. They're small, humble, and often overlooked, but don't let their size fool you. Sardines are nutritional dynamos packed with the exact nutrients that aging bodies crave. In fact, these little fish offer more absorbable calcium than milk, more vitamin D than many fortified cereals, and a hefty dose of heart-loving omega-3s all in one affordable package. What makes sardines especially beneficial is how bioavailable their nutrients are. The soft edible bones provide calcium that your body can actually use because it comes alongside phosphorus and vitamin D, which help you absorb and retain it. That's a combination few supplements can match. And here's a real eye-opener. A Stanford study on older women found that those who ate sardines twice a week increased their bone density by 4% in just 1 year, while the group taking calcium pills showed no improvement. Even better, sardines are very low on the food chain, which means they feed mostly on plankton, not other fish. That makes them naturally low in mercury and contaminants, so you can enjoy them every day without worry. Need a heart health bonus? A Portuguese study tracked seniors for 5 years and found that regular